Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is a behind-the-scenes look at Digital Planet. In fact, we're going to go in front of the scenes now as well. Look, that's better. Hey, it's only Phil Thompson. Let's put the camera down here. You keep talking to them whilst I get the camera all
Well,
panned
we've just
all
done the show. It's
set up.
4:30. You can see the through there. They're all sort of wandering around. We've just finished talking about Microsoft. I talked a bit about Windows 7. I trust you've all got Windows 7 Release Candidate 1 installed and running. And then we talked about Microsoft in Africa. And Michelle's just walked in.
Yeah.
And she'll say hello to.
Hello.
So no, it was fun. We had Ken Banks, Kuwanja, on as well. It's interesting. He was in the Cambridge studio where I often am, and I'm here. In
I know, that was
well, that's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
But most fun for me was Rob Spence, the man who has only one eye. He's a documentary maker, and he's having a cyber eye put in, a wireless camera installed in his prosthetic eye, so you can make documentaries just by looking at you.
Incredible, yeah. And there's a load of stuff. You check out the Digital Planet website. You know, you can link to lots of kind of videos. Some of them are a bit gruesome, actually. That Eyeballs made about the various procedures he's gone to get this camera put in his eye. We've also been talking Evernote. If you haven't seen it already, it's well, they call themselves like an external brain, which might be overdoing it a little bit.
It's
but,
a yapper.
But
it's
there you go.
It's yet another productivity app. Yeah. And we are joined by come round the front, Jamais.
Yeah, come round.
We're recording a video for our Facebook group. We're joined by the great, my good friend, Jamais Cascio. Look in the camera.
Yeah, look in the camera and say hello.
Who's just been watching how we make radio over here in Britain.
It's fascinating.
Sorry, you weren't even in shot there, but you're there. It's just the two of you now, so chat away.
Yes, and then we what else did we talk about? I've forgotten what else we did. There was Windows, there was Evernote, there was Rob, and there was Microsoft in Africa.
Actually, two things. But Microsoft in Africa, one thing that didn't get mentioned is the fact that in developing nations, Microsoft has a cut-down version of Windows that they're pushing that only allows you to run, I believe it's up to 3 applications simultaneously, and it's crippleware.
Well, it's a cut-down version of XP, and it's designed that they can just give it away.
They're doing a cut-down version of 7 as well, at least
really?
as I understand it.
Right, that would be interesting. But perhaps this is what you need if you've got an underpowered computer and you're willing to have it for nothing. Well, do you think that people should have open source software installed?
I strongly prefer open source in that. As a Mac user, I'm not entirely married to open source, but at the same time, I recognize that in situations where you're trying to bootstrap your economy, you're essentially trying to create a leapfrog economy. The capacity to rebuild the software, the capacity to adapt the software to your own particular needs, whether it's language, whether it's culture, whether it is particular applications for your industries, is, I think, better served by an open source environment than by a proprietary environment. Simply because you can get your hands dirty, and that is developing skills. Marketable and industrial skills.
Because I was just going to ask that. This is Gareth behind the camera now, by the way, so there's not enough room in the frame for me as well. But it's quite nice being back here. It's like being back on the radio again. But is that the point then? That with open source, I mean, it literally means that you can go into the code, you can look at it. So if you're trying to learn how to do like a databasing application or something like a calendar function or whatever it is, you can see how other people have coded it and learn from that, learn from their example.
Oh, very much so.
And improve it, of course.
Improve it.
You have the option to fix things and make them better and share that with the rest of the world.
Also, can I just share with you like an idle, this is fascinating for viewers hearing this voice from behind the camera, but an idle thought I had this morning as I was walking in. Supposing somebody writes like a little bit of, that's my mouth going there, Bill's miming me. Supposing somebody comes up with a bit of code, it ends up being adopted widely by the kind of the community, and then supposing something goes wrong, the code crashes somebody's computer, there are difficulties, thousands of people suffer because the code just didn't work. Can somebody be culpable from doing a bit of rogue, well, not intentionally rogue code, but something that just doesn't work?
Have you read the exclusions in the software license that you will get from any commercial provider?
No, I haven't, and that's why I asked the question.
They have expensive lawyers.
Yes.
In fact, software liability is one of the big issues that's constantly just underneath the legislative sort of horizon. And really, if it happened, it would completely change the software industry.
Yep.
In unpredictable ways.
Oh, good. So it's a good question then.
It's a very good.
It's a good question, but it's not just a good question for open source. It's also a very good question for proprietary. In some ways, it's a better question for proprietary because, supposedly these are the kinds of organizations that should have the the regulation and should have the deep pockets and should have the capacity to be responsive to issues around liability, and they simply aren't.
Just like car manufacturers were forced to be from the 1950s onwards,
Yep.
after the Edison.
Wow.
You know, there's we needed the unsafe at any speed for the software world.
Well,
Okay.
on that bombshell, because you guys need to go, don't you?
do.
I'm
There's
going to
coffee
represent
awaiting.
myself visually through by means
say
of
something.
Michelle,
There's
the
actually-
producer's pen. By the way, that's me as acted by a pen.
Actually,
One more thing to
There's
say.
one
yes.
more thing that struck me, not related to Microsoft, but to Evernote. And as I was listening, it struck me that all the focus is on associative memory and association. What they need to do, and what isn't in Evernote, and isn't in any application I've seen yet, is epiphany. So what Evernote does is allow you to create association, but you have to actively control it. You have to actively search out those associations. What epiphany applications would do is essentially seek out and discover those associations for you. And is that possible? Maybe it will be at some
Yes,
point.
and it will be called Skynet.
This is what we call added value. Dear listener, I bet you're glad you downloaded this video. You just got a whole load of seriously good stuff there. It's been brilliant.
Thank you.
Well, we'll call it a day there. You guys need to go for coffee, and I think I'll go home.
Excellent.
Goodbye all.
Bye.
Bye.